Hello, this is Lori Jordan, and this is a presentation of a strategic technology plan created for Goodwill Industries of Rhode Island. So, Goodwill Industries of Rhode Island is an agency based in Providence, and it is actually over 150 years old. It started back in 1863, and it was started by a group of five wealthy women who called themselves the Irrepressible Society. And what their focus was to provide job training or retraining for veterans who were returning home from the war newly disabled with a loss of limb or some other issue. And so they started their work so that soldiers could enter into new employment and have families and have self sustaining wages to support themselves and their families. So they've had a very long history. They've been based in Rhode Island for all these years. They've had a series of name changes over the years, and they've changed some programs and services to meet the changing needs of society, but their mission has always been very consistent, and that's to provide training, education, and other services which result in employment and expanded economic opportunity for people with disabilities and other barriers to employment in order to enhance their capacity for independent living, increase quality of life, and work. So their programs and services, they serve about 1,500 people every year, and their programs and services include vocational evaluations, job explorations, work experiences, internships, and different training programs like computer training or contextualized skills training in things like warehousing, janitorial food service. They also offer English as a second language, and then they also provide school to work services for students. So during the school year, it's called transition services, and in the summertime, they have programming where students actually engage in internships in the business community. So you can see the breakdown of the adults that were served, the youth that were served, the internships, students who held summer jobs, and for those who were referred to employment services, 73% of them did find jobs. They do have an accrediting body, which is CARF, and that stands for the Commission on Accreditation of Rehabilitation Facilities. And the accreditation process can occur anywhere from every year to 2 years or 3 years, depending on how you made out from the previous accreditation. A 3-year accreditation is the highest accreditation, and Goodwill has consistently been accredited for 3 years with each review. They also are funded and regulated by the Office of Rehab Services, which is the state vocational rehabilitation agency and their largest referral source. Also, the Department of Labor and Training, and then the school districts that they serve through the transitional programming and the summer work programming. So in order to craft the technology plan, a group was pulled together to do some strategic planning. And so it was 2 members of the board of directors. There's a full-time staff person who's dedicated to IT, the CEO of the company, and the vice president of program services. And they actually culled out a full day to talk about their vision for technology, and then ultimately their goals. And the reason they did this is because the agency for years and years and years has really engaged in a patchwork approach to addressing its technology needs. Back in 1995, they actually had staff sharing computers. It was about a 1-to-5 ratio, 5 staff for every 1 computer, and it was a DOS-based system with the 5-inch floppy disk. And so through corporate donations like Raytheon, they would start to get computers that would be turned over by their staff every 2 years. So GTEC, Raytheon, et cetera, would donate a bunch of computers, and eventually staff ended up with a computer on their desk. However, a plan was never put in place to deal with the additional technology. So over the years, it's been really Band-Aid approaches, patchwork approaches to increasing bandwidth and addressing the technology needs, leading them to somewhat of a mess that they have today. And outside consultants have, shared and let them know that the agency's at a point it really can't do Band-Aid approaches any longer. It really needs to think about a technology overhaul. And so the CEO of the organization had a conversation with Champlin Foundations, who will fund improvements such as this. And the Champlin Foundation is amenable to it, but they really wanted to see a technology plan that would also address sustainability, training, et cetera, as they really are interested in making investments and making sure their investments are protected. So the vision, the 5 goals came out of the vision from that day of strategic planning. And so, first of all, it was that 1, technology will aid program participants in becoming skilled, knowledgeable, independent, and well prepared to enter the workforce. 2, technology will help staff facilitate learning and skills development in an environment where participants are fully engaged and are responsible for negotiating their own learning experiences and achieving their goals. 3, technology will provide more opportunities for differentiated learning approaches, skills development, credentialing, and access to online education and training. 4, staff will be provided with ongoing professional development and support for using technology for education training and access to wraparound services and resources. And 5, technology will increase knowledge sharing, streamline data collection and output required by regulatory and accrediting bodies. Because right now the agency has a lot of data collection, but they're standalone systems. So different accounting software versus case management systems, et cetera. So from the vision, 3 goals were created. So the first was to embrace the full integration of technology by providing the technological infrastructure, support, external resources, maintenance, network management, and ongoing staff development and support by June 30th of 2018. So the 4 strategies underneath it, well, the first was to allocate an ongoing line item in the budget of no less than $20,000 annually for maintenance and/or replacement. And this will be following a comprehensive needs assessment to figure out which pieces of technology actually, have a shelf life of 2 to 3 years and can be used in the agency, and then which ones need to be moved on. Second strategy, provide each staff with one-to-one technology resources to include a laptop or desktop, as well as the attendant equipment, and then also high-speed copiers or printers. Next strategy, provide opportunities for ongoing training and education for staff to develop the comfort level and skills needed to embed technology in program and practice, as well as become aware of emerging resources. In nonprofits, this is a high deficit area because technology tends to be more antiquated, because staff are, not what I would call digital natives per se. They really tend to shy away from using technology. There's a fear around it. So definitely staff training has to be a strategy. And then the 4th strategy, provide continued full-time staffing to support the oversight, identify issues and needs, etc. So then the second goal was to integrate the meaningful use of technology in all educational, vocational, and technical instruction for adult participants with barriers to employment. And the reason we say all is with this technology overhaul, it is going to be a programmatic expectation that coordinators and program managers are really going to be held accountable to making sure that the program participants leave services being fully equipped to engage in the contemporary labor market. And so the ways that will happen is to equip training rooms with state-of-the-art technology for instruction and workstations to facilitate learning, provide all participants with access to technology resources that support programmatic success, to include the loaning of laptops for self-study. So with adult learners, we want them to be able to research, develop critical thinking skills, and access learning whenever it works for them. Provide opportunities for participants to enroll in and complete courses offered through MOOCs, which is free, and designed to enhance knowledge, skills, and abilities. And then promote participants' ability to explore information, develop research skills, successfully collaborate with peers, and become lifelong learners. And then the third goal was to apply technology to enhance knowledge sharing, administrative functions, increase efficiency and self-reliance to access information and data, and streamline processes, which will ultimately increase productivity. And this was important because the agency is still very, very print-based. It has print-based records and records file room. It's reliant on others to go pull records for case managers who need them. And so we need to move away from that. And so the strategies around that are to first retain a consultant to assist with identifying and implementing software program that can be used to address finance, program, and administrative needs, or identify programs that'll be compatible with each other. Next strategy is to provide intensive staff training to support the implementation and use of the new hardware and software. Provide a half day of professional development and training each month to address key and recurring training issues. We cannot, take a one and done approach on training. It has to be ongoing. And if we're going to enforce the use of technology, then we need to make people very comfortable with it, and we have to be accessible to that training. And then finally, create policies and procedures to diminish duplicative processes and reliance on print-based materials, and increase the use of technology, cloud storage, and data sharing electronically. So the current state of technology, as you can imagine from what's been described so far, is a bit of a mess. So you can see on the left-hand side, the old DOS-based computers and telephones and a mishmash of wires that are kind of running things. And then going forward, making sure that there's training happening, state-of-the-art technology that's available, and access to resources and programs that are available for use. So budget and sustainability. So as I said previously, the Champlin Foundation has agreed to fund this, and we actually created a sustainability plan. And the way we're going to address sustainability is in two ways. So following the needs assessment, a 5-year work plan will be developed, which addresses aging technology and replacements or upgrades needed. And so that going forward, there's a staged approach to keeping technology functioning and relevant. What we don't want to have is a crisis that, technology breaks down and financially it becomes a significant burden to the agency. The other way is that in addition to continuing the staffing of the full-time person, a line item is now going to go into the annual operating budget of no less than $20,000 to address ongoing technology and infrastructure needs to keep everything working the way it should be working, and making sure that we're accessing emerging technologies to keep the skills of our participants relevant in the programming they engage in. So finally, the measures of success are basically going to be assuring that the goals that I laid out previously are achieved, and so that there will be full integration of technology with the infrastructure and support and resources and ongoing staff development that will be in place by June 30th. That technology will be a meaningful part of all educational and vocational and technical instruction for participants, and that programs and services will offer access to the most relevant information, training, and resources available for training, skills development, and education in each participant's selected vocation. And finally, technology will enhance knowledge sharing, administrative functions, increase efficiency and self-reliance to access of information and data, and streamline processes and increase productivity by September of 2018. And we expect there to be a decrease in reliance on print-based records, reports, and related functions, and that staff will be trained to independently retrieve the information they need when they need it. Thank you.